Hey there. All right, I've got another Nautilus to show you. This one is made with Adirondack on the top and curly, very curly, or even maybe crinkly would be a better description of the koa of the back and sides. Ebony bindings and then green purfling, which I haven't done colored purfling for a while, and it was like it was actually disturbingly exciting for me. Like it shows me how maybe boring my life is that I was that excited about using green purfling. I just love this color. I'm suddenly went from a maple and black guy to a guy who wants to just do colors all the time now. And I'm doing it. I got a few coming up. So I'll play a little bit on this thing. So I haven't made a koa guitar for some time, and it was really nice. I've had this set. I had this set and its sister set up on my shelf for, I don't know, maybe approaching 10 years at this point, and this was the occasion. So it has. So koa is an interesting wood. It's sort of like really uptown mahogany, in my opinion. Koa has a lot of variation within the species itself, and I've built with koa that was dense like Indian rosewood and koa that's very light. I have some koa that's like actually frighteningly pithy. Beautiful figured stuff, but it's really, really light. So I would like to build with that just to find out what's going to happen. This was sort of like right smack dab in the middle. The wood had a nice ring to it in board form, so I knew it was going to make a nice sounding guitar. But it doesn't have that super glassy tone like a resinous tropical hardwood would have. And so Bill, who ordered this guitar, is a big fan of mahogany, and we just got to talking, and he's got some other mahogany guitars. So I said, let's try some koa. So we got the koa and the Adirondack, which I think is sort of like the very dressed up for dinner sort of mahogany and Adirondack, which is a really sort of well established combination of woods. This guitar does not disappoint me at all. It has a drier sound than you would get out of Brazilian or Cocobolo or African Blackwood or something like that. But it's, as you could hear from that piece, if you listen to that with headphones on, especially, you can hear that it has quite a long decay. But it's definitely drier than a rosewood guitar. And because it's drier, it's, again, we're trying to use, I mean, all of these things, all of these words we use to describe sound are metaphorical. Sound doesn't contain moisture, so saying drier is referring to something else. There's some kind of other juice we're talking about there. And I think of the moisture, to extend the metaphor, as being a lot of overtones and a long decay with those overtones in it. And I find in a more porous, lighter weight wood like this, mahogany, maple, that you're going to have a shorter decay. And therefore you get what is referred to as note separation. It means that the notes it's like taking a rosewood guitar is more like playing the piano with the sustain pedal down. So you have a lot of sympathetic overtones making the sound fat and wet. And when you have a mahogany guitar, you're playing with the sustain pedal off, and you get, so the decay of one note is not interfering with the primary voice of the second note you're playing. So there's less convolution in the sound, and there's more detail within each given line. So these guitars, you can play. Look, this thing about, this is a fingerstyle guitar, this one's good for flat picking, and this one's good for, I mean, yes, there are certain guitars. There's like gypsy, like Selmer style gypsy jazz guitars. Okay, those are set up in a very specific way, and they have a very specific voice that is like that we associate with the sound of that kind of jazz music. And flamencos are like classical guitars with really low action, so you get tons of string noise and percussion because the strings are so low. So these are associated with flamenco music, which is, takes advantage of that particular instrument's characteristics. I build steel strings, and steel strings are made to play all sorts of music from all sorts of America. It's sort of like, that is the grand instrument of informal music. It's made to play everything from ragtime to funk, rock and roll, country, bluegrass. You can play classical music. These guitars are just so versatile, So when people say, do you build primarily a fingerstyle guitar? Well, this has some characteristics that people associate with a fingerstyle guitar, like multi-scale, elevated fingerboard, blah, 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 various things. But I play with a flat pick myself. My finger style is limited. And I think it sounds pretty good playing bluegrass on it. So I just went on a tangent there, man. That was... And I can't play ragtime, so I can't tell you that. Let's see. So I don't know, Travis picking whatever that was. So there, I just did it. I played a bunch of different styles on this guitar. The action's nice and sweet. I love the configuration of this instrument, and it's, maybe it's just that I'm used to it, but people seem to be hanging on to them for the most part, so that's a good sign. This one also has like this really cool feature that I've been putting in. I've done rib bevels for some time, but in the last maybe year or something, I've started doing leg bevels as well. So you get this cool symmetrical bevel in the back, but it makes the guitar seem so much smaller than it is. Like, it's really comfortable. When I play a guitar without, like, I have my experimental guitar and it doesn't have any of the bevels on it, and it's exactly the same size guitar, but it feels large, and I get the mark of death on my forearm, and it pokes into my ribs, which I notice after I've played a guitar for 45 minutes or an hour. So I think I've gone on long enough. This is Bill's guitar. It was so fun to build it. Addy and Koa and green purfling. So I got a red one coming up. I got a blue one coming up. I'm going for it. So, thank you. Take care.